Keeping water from freezing isn't easy for outdoor or feral kitties, but there are a couple things you can do. Hi everybody and welcome to Cats and Pats. So winter is coming, the Starks were right. Or maybe you just live in a generally cold area. So a big thing to do this time of year is to build like a winter cat shelter for any outdoor cats or any feral cats in your area. There are a ton of videos out there on how to do this. I made a video on how to do this, and I'll link that below and right here if you want to check it out. They're really cheap and easy and extremely important to keeping those outdoor and feral kitties warm. But today we're touching on the next most important thing for kitties in the winter, and that's staying hydrated. Side note, if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. I try to make all sorts of videos like this that will be helpful to you, so if you're into that sort of thing and helping kitties, make sure you subscribe. That'd be awesome. So, because of cold temperatures, it's hard for kitties to get water in the winter. This might be because it just hasn't rained, kitties might just be hunkered down someplace warm and they're just not exploring very much, or more likely, it might just be that the water source they have is frozen. So I found a great article from Neighborhood Cats on a few things you can do to help kitties in your area. So, a simple thing starting out is the type of food you're putting down for like the outdoor cat or at the feral cat colony in your area. If you're outdoor cat or cats have like a normal feeding time, like you put that food down and they're there in a couple minutes, then wet food is the best option for you. Wet food, as the name implies, has more water in it than dry food, and consequently helps kitties stay hydrated. However, because of this, the food can actually freeze, and it's not really a good option if cats aren't there to eat it immediately. I had to take a quick water break and somebody joined me. So when it comes to keeping water from freezing, the obvious best choice is an electrically heated water bowl. These plug into some power supply and it just keeps the water warm enough that it won't freeze. Obviously, this relies on you getting power to wherever that area is, which may not always be the case, but if you can, it's awesome. Also, this article mentions that the water will evaporate quickly, so try to get a bowl that will hold at least a gallon and make sure you can fill it up daily. If you aren't near an electricity source, we have a couple other options. One is a solar sipper, or a pet bowl solar sipper, or a pet water solar bowl, something along those lines. These are bowls that have like a small opening at the top and they're kind of thick and well insulated, and they use the sun's solar energy to help keep the water warm. Most advertise that they can keep water from freezing down to about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. But there are a lot of mixed reviews. Some people say they work great, some people said the water froze at 32 just like any other bowl. My standpoint is, these aren't miracle things. Passively, you can only do so much. I think at worst, they'll perform the same as an average bowl. But they have a chance, especially in direct sunlight, to keep water from freezing down to a little bit lower temperature than normal. Using one of these bowls in combination with one of the other things I'm going to touch on in a few minutes may help even more. I really haven't seen a better passive bowl, but if you have, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to pin it or heart it or somehow make it like obvious for others to see. Another thing mentioned are Snuggle safe microwave heat pads. What these are like thick plastic microwavable insulated discs, and you can microwave them up really hot and they'll sit there and retain that heat. Think of it almost like a pizza stone, or like if you feel like blacktop on like a cold winter day but the sun has been shining on it all day, it stays warm. It's the same idea. So once heated up, they'll retain that heat for several hours, so you can go and like stick that underneath a water bowl, and that'll prevent the water from freezing, at least for a little while. They also mentioned that you can put one of these in a shelter to help warm that up. Another great idea is to get one of those like 30-quart styrofoam coolers, you know, like the disposable ones, and you can go and cut a hole in the side, put the water bowl inside of it and put the lid on, and that'll keep that water insulated a little bit more and the cat can go in there and drink it. But there's a little bit of a caveat to this that they mention. It makes me a little hesitant to use it. You want to make sure you're using a small enough cooler to hold just like the cat and a water bowl, because you don't want a cat to curl up in there, use it as a shelter, bump that water bowl, and then get wet, because that puts them in a worse situation. So just be a little cautious with that. Another thing mentioned is the type of bowl you put out, because that can affect like, how much the water freezes greatly. Thick plastic is better than thin plastic. What you really want is like a deeper bowl with a smaller opening. Long, shallow bowls will freeze much faster. Also, darker bowls are better than lighter bowls, as darker materials will absorb more heat from the sun than lighter ones. They also mentioned putting the bowl so it's out of the wind, but still exposed to sunlight. They also mentioned this really cool like makeshift water bowl. The idea is to get like a small styrofoam shipping container and like line it with a thick plastic bag to kind of waterproof it, and then cut a small opening at the top. So you have this thick insulated water bowl that the cat can still access from the top. They mentioned that vaccines are normally shipped in a container like this, so you might be able to ask your vet to save one for you. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. The next idea mentioned is very Jason, and you'll see what I mean. So first, get an old tire that's off the rim. Similar to this guy. What, you don't have old used tires at your house? Just me? Whatever. And this one may be a little too big, but it'll work for demonstration purposes. An idea for this is actually from farmers who do the same sort of thing to keep water for their livestock from freezing. So what you do is you get your tire and fill up the entire inside with rocks. You know, like gravelly rocks or thick rocks. Just fill it on up. And the idea is you fill this up and you have your bucket or your water bowl in the center of this, and that bucket should be snug to the edges. This tire might be good for cows or something. I think for cats, if you can find like a lawnmower tire, that would probably be ideal. But the idea is you stick this thing out in the sun all day. This thick black rubber is absorbing a lot of heat, and all that heat is being transferred to the rocks inside. Those warm rocks are pressed snug up against your water bowl or bucket or whatever you have. And just like the pads we mentioned earlier, those rocks will retain the heat for hours and hours and help keep that water from freezing. I thought that was a pretty awesome and clever idea, and chances are somebody will give you an old lawnmower tire for free. And you can always find rocks places. So yeah, I love that. Now I have black junk all over my hands. What do you think, Moo? Moo digs it. One last thing mentioned is to look for warm places in your area. Chances are outdoor kitties and feral kitties will kind of gravitate to this normally. But you can also use it for your water bowls. So this site mentions if there are heating pipes next to like exterior walls of a building, that area will be naturally warmer. So that's an awesome idea. If perhaps there's some like warm air vents, that might help. Maybe if you're by buildings that have like generators running all the time, that'll be putting off a lot of warm air. Obviously you don't want to put stuff anywhere dangerous, but there can be a lot of safe, warm spots in places you might not immediately think of. So do you have any good ideas on how to keep water from freezing for outdoor kitties? Let me know down below and I'll try to make sure that everybody can see it. And if you want to know how to build an outdoor shelter, I'll link my video right here. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.